Hi everybody!
So it was recently announced by Konami they're doing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Classic Games collection. This collection is heading west at some point, so it isn't just a Japanese exclusive product like originally thought. As of yet, no release date has been given. However, we do know it'll be on the Switch and on PC. There's a ton of potential games Konami could include in this collection, which was announced as part of Yu-Gi-Oh's 25th anniversary celebration, so I thought I'd make my own wishlist for this collection and give my thoughts on how likely each is to come out. I've made 2004 the absolute latest the game could have released because at that stage we started to get GX games, which doesn't exactly fit in the early days collection theme. Also, let's be real, who gives a flying fuck about GX? That's a spin-off that almost ruined the franchise. Anyways, we already know two of the games that will be included, those being Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 4 Battle of Great Duelists from the year 2000, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 6 Expert 2, which released in 2001. Both games were exclusive to Japan. There have been 9 games total that only ever saw Japanese releases. A few of them can be crossed off the list because they have strictly better sequels from around the same time frame, or they come from very early in Yu-Gi-Oh's life before it became a children's card game. Yes, that's a reference to Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, and I imagine my editor is going to make a joke about that.
Why, yes, Colin, I am going to make a joke about that. Because, you see, I have noticed that you've been kind of crabby lately, right? You've been kind of having a crabby attitude in most of your videos here recently. So, I figured out the solution. I think I figured out the solution. You need to act like these cards that are in this game, and you just need to get laid. Yeah, I'm gonna just exit stage left.
When it was a Game of the Week style manga, we had a ton of different games, and one of them was Capsule Monsters Chess, which I will be covering later in the video. So no, I don't think we'll see Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Breed and Battle as part of this collection. I also imagine it wouldn't go over well given the name, as it sounds kinda kinky. Yep, MadBelmont's roasting my ass for that one, I just know it. I wonder if he's breaking out his impression of The Rock.
Colin Lack, you two big Canadian piece of monkey crap. You asked for the Belmont and you shall receive the Belmont. Now, you need to listen to what Call Me was talking about in the previous section, because it is very clear from all of the kinky jokes and from all of the crabby attitude that your Rudy Poo candy ass needs to get laid. There is no question about it. You need some friends, is what he was about to say. He was definitely talking about friends. He was not talking about any genitalia of any kind. I swear, YouTube, we are YouTube TOS friendly, okay? We are YouTube TOS friendly, I swear.
Anyways, I think it's time we got to the games I want in this collection. I imagine we could get anywhere from 6 to 10 games, possibly more, but I'm only going to highlight the ones I want. If you want to speak about the games you want to see, comment them below. So the first game I'm wishing for is Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, which came out in 1999 in Japan and 2002 for the rest of the world. I have very fond memories of this game. It was my first Yu-Gi-Oh! Video game, and as a kid, I was super confused. That's still kind of my state of mind all the time. What can I say? I'm an honest himbo.
As someone who's known you for the past couple of years, yes, I would definitely say that you are a himbo. Honest, yes, but you come off like an arrogant fucking douchebag about it. You really need to get better at actually making people feel comfortable around you, okay? And second of all, I did read the script before I made these cut-ins, and so I actually have played Forbidden Memories. Thank you. I rented it a couple times back in the day, and yes, it did melt my tiny middle school brain, like first, second grade brain, because I was not supposed to be playing that game back then, but I did because I liked Yu-Gi-Oh! I loved the anime, and I loved collecting the cards at the time. So, yeah, it kind of did melt my tiny little brain back then. That's why it feels like mush up here. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
MadBelmont, you try this game and see how much it melts your brain. I actually have a challenge related to it I'd like to discuss with you and Godo. So if I found the game so confusing, why do I want it? It's because it's one of the few games in my career that has bested me. I have never beaten it. I got super close once, then my PS1 memory card died. Hey, it had a 20-plus year life. It served its purpose. But when it came to actually replacing it and the prices for a new one at the time, yeah, I decided fuck that. So I want this game in the collection just so I can finally best it. I don't want this game to remain rent-free in my head. Even though I have fond memories with friends associated with this game, Forbidden Memories is just one of those games that best exemplifies the weird and wonderful jank that was early Yu-Gi-Oh! As kids, we had no idea how to play the real card game, and we had no idea how to play the video games that came out because they all had different rules. Hell, the rules were even different from the TV show, and Kazuki Takahashi, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh!, even admitted he was making up rules of the game in the manga to service the plot, and it took until the OCG release for the rules to even have some semblance of logic. But this weirdness is exactly what this collection can showcase. I'd actually love it if Konami started releasing more experimental Yu-Gi-Oh! Games again, especially if it features the characters from the first era. I almost wonder if this collection is a way of Konami judging interest in that. It wouldn't surprise me if, in all honesty, they're rebooting the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, since Konami did just open their own animation studio. Anyways, before we get too far into the weeds, let's discuss the next game on my personal list. So moving on, we're going to discuss a Game Boy Advance game next, that one being Dungeon Dice Monsters. I did play a little bit at a friend's house when I was like 12 or 13. It was a confusing game, but Game Boy Advanced UIs could get convoluted thanks to the tiny ass screen. Admittedly, my not fully coming to grasps with this game's mechanics was partially down to playing on my friend's file, which was in the late stages of the storyline, so it's not like the game was drip feeding me mechanics or tutorials. It was running off the assumption I knew what the fuck I was doing. But I always thought as a whole Dungeon Dice Monsters was a cool idea that was never explored enough, so Dungeon Dice Monsters would be a great inclusion since it's a wholly different experience from the trading card game side of things. We're going to continue with the weird and wacky though with the third game. Next up is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses, which was the second Yu-Gi-Oh! Game I ever got. This game was some weird chess game where you were moving your trading cards around a board and the terrain impacted your monster's performance. Also, you had a deck master, which was a concept explored during the virtual arc of the anime. Yes, I know that one's filler. Shut up. But when that happened, young me basically pulled an impression of the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme. I actually really love this game, even though a lot of people consider it a mid one. Sure, it was convoluted and clunky, but it was actually a lot of fun once you learned the intricacies and found cards that synergize well together. Out of all of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, this is one of the more unique ones, and it actually has a community built around it, just for challenges specifically. So this would actually be a super fun one to include. So the fourth game I'm hoping to see on this collection is Yu-Gi-Oh! The False-Bound Kingdom. This game combined RTS elements with RPG ones, making for a marked departure from the rest of the games on offer. It was exclusive to the GameCube and sold relatively poorly, which isn't surprising as nothing sold well on that system. Hyperbole aside, The False-Bound Kingdom is one of those games I wish I had been able to experience back in the day, as it was a unique spin on an IP I loved. Also, I like RTS games, and I like RPGs, so marrying the two naturally has my attention. It's also one that would be cool if they want to focus on the weirder aspects of previous Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games. I think this one isn't too likely, but anything could happen. So this one will be the last of the weird picks. I teased this one earlier in the video. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monster Coliseum from 2004. This one was one of the last games I remember renting from my local Blockbuster. I didn't even rent it right away. In fact, I rented it around 2007 thinking it was a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. I had kind of dropped off paying attention to Yu-Gi-Oh! Around when this game came out. Not because I found the games boring or anything, it was just a case of not having access to cable and having only very limited access to the internet at the time. Thus, it was a lot harder for me to hear things about some of the properties I was interested in. I also don't remember any video game magazines covering this particular title, but it was a fairly fun game from what I could remember of it. I'm unsure if Konami would include this one or not, but I think it could be one of the more fun options if it was. So for the final game I'd like to see Konami include, I have to choose Stairway to the Destined Duel, though there's probably a better choice. This one was an accurate representation of how the game was really played back in the day. It's set during the Battle City arc. Yeah, we had a lot of games like that. But of all of the Yu-Gi-Oh games over the years, this is the one I've played most, so I have very fond memories of it. So those were my picks for the early days collection. What are yours? Sound off in the comments section. Thanks go out to my current channel members, R. Campbell and Danny Boy. If you'd like to help the channel out further, you can do so by hitting the join button or the link in the description. You can also help the channel out by liking the video and hitting the subscribe button. If you've liked this video, why not check out one of my videos that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Until next time, keep blazing that trail.